Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for being here. This is Mike Donow. I'm the business manager at Renaissance IT Consulting. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Microsoft Planner. What I'm going to ask you to do is if you have questions as I go through this, we're trying to keep this short and sweet and informative. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the chat, and I'll either answer them at the end of the time, as time allows, or if I need to follow up with you after the meeting, I can certainly do that. So diving right in, what is Microsoft Planner? Well, it is a project management platform, and it's a piece of software that's included in every Office 365 subscription, but it can actually be pretty easy to miss because there is not a desktop version of the app. It's exclusively web-based and then also available within Teams. And the idea behind that is it allows for seamless integration with other apps like your Outlook calendar. You can probably imagine how having your calendar synced with whatever you have to have done in project plan is going to be helpful. Now, if you are on mobile, there are iOS and Android apps that are available there since you don't have a full-blown web browser. So, when I say project management software, what do I mean and what is the point of using it? I'm sure some of you already do use a project management platform, but for those of you who don't, you probably still have a pretty well hammered out project management process. So what would you have to gain by using a piece of software like this? I'm going to go through 5 bullet points here. First of which is organization. You're going to end up with very clear assignment of tasks, responsibilities, and deadlines, and you're going to have the ability to drill down to the individual task level so that you can silo each function of your project. And that's going to simultaneously give your team access to more detail, but also decrease noise because they're not going to be looped in on elements of the project that don't apply to them. You're going to be able to improve your team's collaboration. One of the issues, if you're not using a system like SharePoint in conjunction with Planner, is that version control of documents can become a real headache, especially if you're trading over a file server or email. Using a application like Planner does solve that problem, and it eliminates a lot of cross chatter that can muddy communication. Third is going to be an improvement to visibility. As a project gets more and more complex, it can become very difficult to sort of see the forest for the trees. And Planner is able to consolidate all of the smaller details into a bird's eye view to allow management to quickly identify problems and get ahead of them. It's going to give you a clearer idea of progress and help you spot those bottlenecks earlier. Fourth benefit is improvements to resource allocation. You're going to be able to allocate resources like your personnel, budget, and equipment more effectively, maximize their use and reduce waste. And the combined effect of all of this is an improvement to the overall efficiency of your projects. So now, if you've used any of the pieces of software that you see here, you've used some project management software, or at least they all have project management components to them. And one of the things that I'm going to challenge everybody attending to ask themselves is, if you are paying for a platform like this and Planner is included in your Office subscription, then are you paying twice for the same functionality? And if anybody comes away from today's meeting having discovered a way they can save a few bucks, please let me know. That would make me very happy. So as we go through today, we're going to dive right in to working with Planner. I'm going to share my screen as I go through the core functions, and you're going to come away from today knowing how to create a new project, assign, label, and prioritize tasks. You're going to be able to take that management perspective to visualize progress and identify bottlenecks. And at the end, I'm going to include some ways to integrate that data with other Microsoft applications. So with that, I'm going to switch over to sharing my screen. Bear with me for just a moment. What you're looking at right now is the central hub for Microsoft Planner. It's a very clean layout, nothing too confusing so far. And what I want to do is start from scratch. You can see I've already got one plan put together here, that's something we're going to come back to later. Let's say that I'm going to start planning a future webinar. Now, first off, you're going to notice there are templates for some of the more popular types of projects, but I'm going to go ahead and start a new blank plan, and I'm going to start coming up with ideas for a webinar on Microsoft Visio. That is a flowchart piece of software. And even though you don't have to assign a group right out of the bat, I do have a webinar planning team that I'm going to include on this. Now that is pulling from Microsoft Teams. And you'll see here as we get in, we have the ability to start adding tasks, and that's going to be your most granular unit that you're working with in Planner. So let's go ahead and create a new task. And the first thing I'm going to need to do is write first, let's say write a script. So I'm going to need to get that done. I'll give myself a little time here. Let's call it, have that script ready by the 1st. And I'm going to assign that to myself. You can see the other folks who are in my webinar planning group. And I'm going to add that task. So you can see it goes into to do. And you're going to notice up here, there's another line for add new bucket. So buckets are going to help you divide your tasks into related groups. So to do doesn't seem quite right for writing a script. That's a better way to describe it is going to be content. But we're also going to need people to actually attend. So what I'm going to do is start a second bucket and label it promotion. And so what I am going to do here is we're going to need to draft an invite email. Well, let's just say write invite email, because we're going to be able to go into more detail a couple steps down the road. And we're going to assign that to our marketing lead, Jamie. And I'm not, oh, you can see I entered that in the wrong spot. Let's pop over here. So if you are going to edit a task in higher detail, you can go ahead and click on the task. And you can see here, I can still handle assignments, but it opens up some additional fields for you. So I'm going to go ahead and set a due date. I can't really expect invitations without an idea of what content's going to be in there. So let's set a due date here for the 6th. And I do have the ability to make a change to the bucket this task is in while I have it up in this view. You have the ability to label your tasks as an additional layer of grouping across your buckets. And then you can specify things like a priority. Let's say I want to make sure that I'm stressing the priority of this task. We can bump it up to important. If you want to break down a task into a few different components, we can add a checklist. So let's say draft, review, and publish. So that once we start making progress, it'll be visible to management how far we are through this task. So those are the basics of starting a new plan, but kind of like a cooking show, I'm going to pop over to something that is already in motion and a bit more populated. So the next webinar after this is going to be on Microsoft Booking. And as you can see, our team has this underway. So what are we able to see here that we didn't on the prior screen? Now, I'm going to go ahead and take a look at, first off, our schedule. As we've filled in our tasks, set start dates and due dates, this calendar is going to populate, and it's going to allow you to see at a glance, as of today, what's on track and what's falling behind. We see this build invite list here that's still in progress, and so it's highlighted in red. Completed tasks are highlighted in green. Tasks that are in progress and not overdue are going to be highlighted in blue. And then anything that is not due to be started yet and is just future dated is going to show up in gray. And we can see a bit more detail there when we go into charts. Overall, we can see the status of the project, again, coded in those colors: green for completed, red for late, blue for in progress, and gray for not started. And you can see here we've got some red jumping out. In fact, we've got an important task that is marked late. It looks like content and marketing for this event are in good shape, but we're seeing that issue with attendance. So as we drill down here, we can see that this is impacting the progress of 4 different members of the staff. So I'm going to hop over here. I'm going to see that this is highlighted in red. Oh, one of my team members just notified me that they got a planner notification. So, okay, this is working all right. So you can see the task that's overdue is highlighted in red here, and I'm going to take a closer look. And it looks like as we build this invite list, Kirk and Mike have contributed, but we're still held up on the invite list from Donnie. So if I'm in management, I would reach out to Donnie and let him know that this needs to be prioritized. Additionally, you may have noticed when we were on the charts that there's a task coming up as unassigned. So I have something that I have put into this plan that does not have a team member assigned to it and working on it, and that's a good way for something to fall through the cracks. So as I pop back over to our board here, I can see there is nobody assigned under review and improve invitation. And I think because Kirk is the owner of the business here, he's going to want to have the final say so. So I've now got that delegated to him. Now, I touched on the collaboration utility of this tool earlier. Oh. No, Jamie, you're not quite done yet. So let's say design invitation is still in motion, and I want to make sure that Jamie is using the most up-to-date version of our logo. What I can do is open up the task, add an attachment, and you can either pull from team files, things like SharePoint and Teams. You can provide a link to a URL, or in my case, I'm going to pull a file from my computer and let's see here. You know what? I apologize. This is leading me to a different directory than I had. So we're just going to run with it and say that I want to go ahead and I want to grab this document and attach it. So we'll pretend that that is the image that I had in mind for our logo. And then if I did want to call extra attention to it, or I wanted to provide notes on the progress of this task, you can just come down into comments here and attach a comment to the task. And so really, we've got that done. As soon as the task is completed, it's just a matter of Jamie coming in and checking this off. That's added to our completed tasks list. And for anything that is partially underway, you notice we have this progress drop down here. You're able to indicate when a task has been at least started and move it to completed when it's finished. And really, that is a full tour of the functionality here. It is not a super complicated piece of software. The one thing that I do want to add is how you would go about using this in Teams. So I'm going to take just a moment here to pause my screen. All right, so now I'm within Microsoft Teams, and let's say I wanted to start using Planner directly through this app. What I can do is hit this plus sign, and if I start typing in Planner, you're going to see that Tasks by Planner comes up as your first option. And so you can either create a new plan from scratch here, or you can pull in an existing plan that you've already got in motion and add it to the team. And so you see here, you get the same level of fidelity that you did on the other screen. It's fully built into Teams. You can still have access to your charts, have access to the project schedule. And yeah, I would say that that covers everything that I had for you today. The next thing that we are going to be covering is Microsoft Booking. It's a scheduling application. Thank you for attending today's webinar. Please get in touch if you have any questions.